Episode 14, Phones. Now, phones is pretty vague. It's a very general umbrella term. I wanted to go into cell phones, but I thought, let's talk about all phones. Let's talk about what happened with phones and why phones are just everywhere now. Why we all have to carry around tracking devices on us to listen to everything we say. Interesting. I'm going to go through a quick historical background, just a couple little facts, real quick. 1876, Bell patents the telephone. 1947, they proposed the idea of cellular networks. It's Bell Labs, patent holder for phones. And we had 1963. That's when we replaced the rotary. I was old enough to see a working rotary phone. My grandfather had one, the man that raised me. Like a dialing one, you'd have to hit the number and then wait, and then hit the number and then wait, and it was like, did I go fast enough? Do I have to wait longer? Like it was weird. Just do the thing. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's it. And then it would just magically dial. And I was like, whoa, it was like magic. It was really cool. Eventually we got rid of that. And then, oh man, those were the days. Those were the days. Just weird technology. You wouldn't know that nowadays. You see them and you're like, what'd you guys do with that? And it's like, it was cool. It was cool when you first use it. You could hook one up again. I think people would try it. They'd be like, I just want to see how it calls. Quality was terrible. Oh, another weird trick. Some people know about this. You used to be able to do multi-way calling by hanging up, dialing the number, and then hanging up again, and it would cross back over to the original person while holding the call for the third person. And the kids, something you could do is you could chain a third person in, and then that person could chain another person in. And you'd have to remember who called who, and you'd be like, oh, shoot, you're going to call this dude. I already called this dude, so you got to do that. And then you'd have to get that new guy. Hey, you got to call the next guy. Think we had at one time we had like 8 people on a single phone call. I was like, "This is crazy. We've never done this before." And a lot of the parents were like, "You can't do that. It costs money." I was like, "No, it didn't. It's a bypass for it." There was other tricks I've learned later too that you could actually do certain things with the phone in order to bypass certain fees or do things anonymously or whatever. It was weird. Different techniques of messing with phone stuff. Whole mystery now, but it's not really something we use anymore. So just cool that I was there to experience it for a little bit. Makes me feel old. No, it's good stuff. All right, back to the history here. We got 1973, first handheld mobile call. That was Motorola. That was one of the big companies back then, Motorola. At some point, all the companies just started getting bought out. That's what happened in all of America. Just one thing gets bought out, another thing gets bought out. This company gets bigger because they bought everybody out, so then they buy more people out. Pretty soon, there's nobody left. And some of those companies, they would then get bought out for way smaller amounts, but they're like, well, it's this or slowly get pushed out of the market because the bigger company is going to get all the corporate deals, they're going to get all the discounts, they're going to get everything. Everything became that. All right, back to the facts here. 1983. I'm not even born yet. Dynatac 8000 becomes first commercial cell phone. I think that was the big one. They had a big one that was like this brick you would carry with you. You could make calls on it, and people thought they were like the president just for having it. One of the bricks. I think that's what that was. I kind of want to look it up, but I'm not going to waste the time right now. 1991. So at this point, I'm alive on the timeline here. First GSM call. Digital cellular begins. I don't even know what GSM is, but we're going to assume it's something to do with cell phones. 1992, first SMS sent. The very first text message, 1992, they sent Merry Christmas. That's funny as heck. I would have never known that. That's good. Very first text message ever sent was in 1992, and it was Merry Christmas. Interesting. 2001. NTT Docomo launches the first 3G network. Right now we're on 5G. We're on 5G now, so this was 3G. This was back in 2001. That was the big one. They were like, "Oh man, this is going to be changing the world." And that's when everybody was like, "The cell waves are going to microwave your brain." And it's like, and then they did that again with the G5. They're like, "Oh, 5G, it's going to microwave your brain." No, you guys are just not keeping up with what's happening. You don't understand anything to do with this. Is it bad having, cell waves going through you all day? Potentially. Potentially. We might find that out in 200 years. They'll be like, hey, you guys were really not doing well with this, but made it happen. Anyways, 2007, iPhone ushers in multi-touch smartphone era. 2007. That was a big thing is people had iPods when I was going to high school. They had iPods, and the biggest thing with the iPods was they only wanted like one button thing. They were like, let's not put 86 buttons on it. Let's have like one button and then it'll be a cool button. And that was kind of the way that they designed it. So, like to do stuff, you'd have to click and then you could click and hold and then like a menu would pop up. And then to scroll, you'd have to, like, I don't know, swizzle the little circle thing. You'd have to go around the outside. Kind of got to rim the button. And that would do the scrolling. And so you'd be like, oh, clockwise is down and then counterclockwise is up. It was really weird. I didn't have one, so I didn't get it until way later, and then I tried it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it," but really confusing. Not the I don't know, I didn't like the system. I'm a bigger cell phone person. I like the different directional pads. We had the, Nokias. Isn't even on there, but somewhere in this area, there was Nokia's, flip phones. That would have been, I don't know, what, 2009, probably? Nokia had the flip phones. That was big, everybody had the flip phones. Think that's when cell phones took off, somewhere around like 2007, 2009. LTE arrives, and 2019 marks early 5G rollouts, which I guess we're still on 5G, but nobody cares. Cell phones are so garbage at this point. They're just not what they were all cracked up to be. I mean, they're nice. They're nice, but I don't think they're all that they're cracked up to be. It's just not, I don't know. It's not what I want. Not what I want with my life, you know? Is it good to have an emergency device in the woods? Absolutely. How often am I in the woods? It's like most of the time I'm in my house. Cell phone is good to have, but it's like, I don't know, it's inconvenient, honestly. Nice having a clock. Be like, oh, what time is it? Okay, then. Wonder what the temperature is. It's good having apps to keep things up to date, but I mean, you could do that other ways too. I just feel like cell phones aren't it. Like having a watch, smartwatch, it might be better. But then if you get a smartwatch, they want you to hook it up to your cell phone. Like, come on, just put the phone in the watch so we can be done with it. Someone calls me, you just tap in, you're like, yo, what's up? Who's the target? Yeah. Anyways, that's where we're at with cell phones. Back to the 2008, around this time. That's when I was graduating high school. So somewhere in there, kids started getting cell phones. And not every kid had one. It was like only a couple of kids had them. It wasn't even like necessarily the rich kids. It was like the trendy kids, the ones that were always like had to have the newest tech stuff. The ones whose dads were like in business. So they saw it and they were like trying to explain to them how important it's going to be. And then the kid gets one and it's like mostly for games and music. I think I had a hand me down MP3 player. We could even rewind this into music and be like, well, back in the day, we had Walkmans. You have your little CD player that you'd have to carry around with you. You could like put it in your hoodie pocket and then you could go jogging with it. Oh man. But then the CD would skip, because it's like, it's too much. You'd have to get like more sturdy Walkmans or whatever to have. Or you could get tape recorders. I had a tape recorder that I could record music on, and then I could play it, and it would just play the tape, and I could plug headphones in. I could be out jogging with that thing. It's just so weird. It's like the weirdest technology to look back on because you're like, yeah, it wasn't like quality. It was just like radio, like half a radio in your ear, and you're like, at least I could hear a song. But yeah, eventually we got torrents, and that's gonna be a whole nother episode to dig into at some point. Torrents. What happened with Winamax and LimeWire, and what was the other one? There was like a magic name. Can't remember it. Was it Kazam? Was that it? One of those? One of those was like another torrenting platform. Oh man, back in the day. And then you would get stuff where you would get like music, and you'd get the wrong music. Like you'd search for something and you just get a wave of other stuff, and sometimes it wasn't even music, sometimes it was like random stuff. We used to look up skate videos like that back in the day because I was a big skateboarder, big into skateboarding. Now I don't have knees because of skateboarding. But back then, that was amazing. Look up skate videos and be like, "Oh, let's see what company this one has." And "Oh, Etnies got a new video. Let me check it out." And I remember all those. Another good one that we watched was back in the day before Bam Margera, before he got big. He did CKY, and they did 4 videos, 1 through 4 of those. Those were old school. You can look at them now and it's like, "Oh my gosh, this was a thing?" Yeah. This was like the I don't even know. This was like the anarchists of skateboarding. These are like the crazy guys jumping off of bridges, doing dangerous stuff, like genuinely dangerous stuff, and genuinely dangerous to society in many ways. They had a fake body they were throwing off an overpass. I'm like, that is too much. That is too much. That's too far. You guys need to reel it in a little bit. Go back to pushing each other in shopping carts. We did that as friends. We used to skateboard. Sometimes we'd get up to full speed and we would hit a curb, and it was this massive downhill of grass. We would just hit it and just tuck and roll and just see what happens. Good stuff. And that's what growing up used to be. But yeah, back then, the cell phones, we just had the flip phones. A couple of kids had them. The text messages were sloppy, but you had to have a full keyboard so you could type it. Now you have the swipe. I use the swipe for everything. Beautiful. Now you just put your finger on the screen, you kind of draw the rough shape of the word, and then it's just like, close enough. And it picks up what word you were drawing most of the time. Sometimes it messes up, but most of the time it's pretty good. And yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. Seems like a simpler way to do it. I like how it is now. But again, what use is the cell phone? It's like it has a bunch of apps. All the games that I used to enjoy got flooded with outsourcing garbage games. Everything is advertising, everything is just like clickbaiting. It's like the top 200 games in the marketplace are just garbage. And then to find a real Android game, you either have to pay money for it or you have to like find a developer who published a free game on some like indie website and download the APK through them because they couldn't even get it on the store because it's so washed with garbage. But so gaming is dead on cell phones. Used to be amazing. I think the pinnacle was Angry Birds. Everybody played Angry Birds on their phone, at least a little bit. But yeah, after a while, it just became who can make the crappiest game that people will buy the fastest. And then there was a race, and like millions of games just popped up that were complete garbage, copycat games of other games. If one does like a little bit better than the others, everyone does that. And it's just like, oh my God. And none of them are real game developers. It's all outsourcing companies just duct taping stuff together to see if they can get ad revenue going. So, anyways, that's where we are in cell phones. It's just like a pile of crap, and they don't work for nothing. I might even do another episode on cell phones. Until next time.